Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. This is IMAX Sports with another football video, and today I'm talking about why the Baltimore Ravens will win Super Bowl 57. This is the newest installment in the latest series I've been doing on the channel, where I'm going over every Super Bowl contender and some of the biggest reasons why they are Super Bowl contenders for this season, as well as some of the advantages they might have if they make the playoffs this year. The Ravens have made the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years. They missed it last year due to Lamar Jackson's injury, but their team is still relatively similar. They made some new additions, and I'm excited to see what the Ravens are able to do this year with a healthy Lamar Jackson. First thing I want to talk about is the running back room. The Ravens have been one of the best rushing offenses in the league for the last few years, with Lamar Jackson at quarterback, and with the running backs that they've had, especially that year where they had Mark Ingram who went off. This year is no different. They have J.K. Dobbins back again from injury last year, and they have Mike Davis from the Atlanta Falcons. Mike Davis was on the Panthers 2 years ago. Now he was on the Falcons last year, and he was a workhorse for both of those teams. He got around 4.5 yards a carry for both teams, which is pretty impressive. And he had some good minutes on when Christian McCaffrey was gone, and when he was the premier back for the Falcons before Cordell Patterson took over the offense. Mike Davis has been a great running back so far, and I think that adding him to this running culture that the Ravens have built over the last few seasons is only going to bring his game to the next level. As for J.K. Dobbins was drafted in 2020. He had a phenomenal rookie season as a backup running back. He had 135 carries for over 800 yards, which is over 6 yards a carry. That's extremely impressive for a running back. Some quarterbacks have over 6 yards a carry because of the limited carries that they have, but usually you don't see running backs with over 6 yards a carry on over 130 attempts. J.K. Dobbins this year is going to be the premier back, and because of that, he's going to get some more carries. Obviously, his yards per carry will go down, but I can still see him having over 5. I think that he also had 9 touchdowns on those just 134 carries. And I think that if they can get him the ball more and bring him as a more crucial, pivotal part of their offense, that could really improve the already amazing Ravens rushing game. And I think that having him healthy and having Mike Davis as a backup that you can throw in as a workhorse backup, third down back that can get those tough yards, then I think that this is a great 1-2 punch to add to Lamar Jackson's mobility at the quarterback position. Next up, we have Mark Andrews. Last year, Mark Andrews caught 107 of 153 passes for 1,361 yards and 9 touchdowns. He also had a completion percentage of over 70% when targeted and 80 yards per game. A lot of this was when Tyler Huntley was quarterback. And I think that the fact that Tyler Huntley he was able to do so well with Mark Andrews just shows how crucial of a player Mark Andrews is. He's that reliable target that will always be open. You'll always be able to get the ball to him. The one thing that was a negative last year was the fact that there were 9 interceptions when he was targeted last year. But I think that some of that had to do with Tyler Huntley and his inexperience. I think that if you have Lamar and Mark Andrews, that's not going to happen as much. But he does have over 100 pass rating when targeted for his career, which is very impressive. He had a great first few seasons, but last year, being a necessary target for Tyler Huntley and for Lamar earlier in the season, over 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns was extremely impressive, and I can see him doing it again this year. He got first-team All-Pro in the AFC, and I think that this year coming up with the loss of Hollywood Brown is going to be a big change for the Ravens offense. And I think that Mark Andrews is going to be that consistent player who's going to be able to keep the Ravens offense at a top tier level. On defense, we have some big changes over the last few seasons. The Ravens defense always obviously has been a top 10 defense for the last 20 years, ever since John Harbaugh's been there. And although not all these players were added last year, Calais Campbell and Marcus Peters were added 2 years ago. They also added Kyle Fuller this year, which is another big addition to this Ravens defense. Kyle Fuller from the Chicago Bears is a multiple-time Pro Bowler and All-Pro selection from the Chicago Bears. He's had a phenomenal career so far, although the last couple of years weren't as great as his 2017, 18, and 19 seasons. He's still a phenomenal cornerback and a phenomenal player. Calais Campbell obviously has had a relegated career, and I think that the addition of Kyle Fuller to this already stacked defense is just going to make it even better. They've made some big changes, some big moves over the last few years to get some big name players, and this Ravens defense is just going to keep getting better. I also obviously want to talk about Marlon Humphrey, the one major consistency on this defense over the last few years. He was drafted by the Ravens a couple of years ago, and he's been a phenomenal player ever since he was drafted in 2017. Sorry. The Ravens defense has been a top 10 defense, and a lot of that's to do with their secondary, and Marlon Humphrey is one of the reasons why that secondary has been so consistent. I think that with the addition of Kyle Fuller, and I think that with John Harbaugh's coaching style, this is one of those teams where, like, there's really a top 8 for defenses every year, because the Ravens and the Patriots are always there. The Steelers are also on that list, but you'll always see the Ravens and Patriots in top 10 for yards and top 10 for touchdowns on the defensive side of the ball pretty much every year because of John Harbaugh and Bill Belichick's amazing defensive mind and consistency. So having that defense always makes you a Super Bowl contender. I'm a big believer of defense wins championships after seeing it so many times with the Patriots, and I think that the Ravens will always be contenders because of their defense, and Lamar Jackson is the reason why they'll be able to take the step further from playoff contenders to Super Bowl contenders. And speaking of Lamar Jackson, I could not make this video without talking about him. Since he joined the league in 2018, the Ravens are 37-12 with Lamar Jackson. That's a win percentage of 0.755. It's better than Tom Brady. That's about the same as Patrick Mahomes. You can't get much better than that. Without the Lamar Jackson, the Ravens are 6-10. Obviously, that's a small sample size. It's only 16 games, but the winning percentage is twice as good with Lamar as it is without Lamar. Sorry, it's not as good as Mahomes. Mahomes is 50-13. Either way, 6-10 without Lamar, 37-12 with Lamar. They have 31 extra wins and only 2 extra losses. A lot of that was last year when they did miss the playoffs. Lamar Jackson started off the season, I believe, 6-3, and then the Ravens finished off the season 2-6. And then the other bit was when Joe Flacco kept them above water before Lamar Jackson came in as the starter and brought them to a playoff berth in 2018. Lamar hasn't had the best success in the world in the playoffs, but his winning percentage and his record against good teams has shown that he can and will win important games when he needs to. I think that when the playoffs come this season, Lamar Jackson is going to have more experience, more playoff experience, and he'll be able to deal with that pressure, and he'll be able to do really well this year. So, really excited for the football season. Really excited to watch the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, healthy Lamar Jackson, play again this year. Comment your thoughts down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.